Alright guys, welcome to Unit 6 review. This is page 2 of the Unit 6 review. Okay? Alright. Here are my glasses. Can't see without them. Continue on with our compositions of functions. Alright, let's look at number 11, and here are all the functions I have given you, all 5 of them here. So this one is a of -1, so I'm going to use this formula right here, or this expression. So a of -1, my x is now -1, so I'm going to substitute -1 wherever I see it. And then I'm going to simplify using order of operations. 2 times -1 is -2 plus 1. -2 plus 1 is -1. And since I'm done with a, this is now my new x. I'm going to plug that into my e functions. Okay? And e has x squared, so I'm going to put -1. Remember how I said put parentheses around them? Minus 2. -1 squared is +1, because that's -1 times -1 minus 2. 1 minus 2 is -1. So e of a of -1 is -1. There you go. And that is 2 parentheses, if you're wondering what that is. Okay? All right, let's look at number 13. We're going to start off with b first. My x value is 3, so I'm going to go to b. b has a square root sign. 2 times -3 minus 4. Complete your math. 2 times -3 is -6 minus 4. Combine like terms and you have a square root of -10. Do not simplify them, but then I want to remind you about the I, okay? Alrighty. Next part, d. You now have square root of -10 as your new x. So 2 times, what's your x? Square root of -10. Remember, there's an understood 1 right here. Okay? You do not multiply 2 times the square root of -10. You actually multiply 2 times 1, which is 2. Bring down your -10. Now, let's go back and remember algebra 2. You remember how you can't have a negative? That comes out as a positive, make that a positive by bringing in an I. So you have 2i square roots of 10. So d of b of -3. You are not allowed to have a negative under your square root. Comes out as an I every time. Anytime you have a negative underneath, it comes out as I square roots of 3. Okay? So just remember that. If I were you, I would write that somewhere. All right, number 14. There are now 3 steps. So we're going to try with b first. -8. So square root 2 times -8 minus 4. 2 times -8 is -16 minus 4. Comes out to be square root of -20. Okay? Next is your a. Your new x is now square root of -20, so you have 2 parentheses square root of -20 plus 1. 2 times 1 is 2 square root of -20. See how I'm just rewriting it without the parentheses, plus 1. I cannot add those together. These are not like terms. These, think of it as one term. Now your new d is 2 square root of -20 plus 1. Notice where the line stops. And I'm going to plug that into d. So you got 2 parentheses, 2 times the square root of -20 plus 1. Okay? Simplify, you're going to distribute. 2 times 2 is 4, square root of -20. And 2 times 1 over there is plus 2. All right. We got to simplify this. This here is the same as 4 square root of -4 times 5. See that right there? -4 times 5 plus 2. What is the square root of 4? That's a 2, so it's going to come out as a 2. You guys see that right there? A square root of 4 is a 2. And how do you get rid of that negative? Make that a positive, and you now have an I. Okay? So 2 times 4 is 8i, square root of 5 plus 2. Do you have to do that? And the answer to that question is yes. You have to simplify. Oop, I didn't put enough. Let me rewrite that real quick, because I don't like the way that is written. 8i square root of 5 plus 2. Okay, because it was all bunched up right here, so I wanted to rewrite it. And there you have your compositions of functions. Okay, one step at a time. I want to remind you about your I. All right, how to find an inverse. Number 16. So I'm going to do it right over here. Okay, make that a y. Step 1, switch your x and your y. Solve for y. Times 7 times 7. 7x is equal to negative y minus 9. Add 9 to both sides. So you have 7x plus 9 equals negative 1y. Divide each of these by negative 1, so negative 7x minus 9 is equal to y. Add your negative 1. There you go. Okay. I went kind of fast, so I will slow down on the next one. All right, number 17. There's your y. I'm going to make that into an x. You are allowed to do that, okay? Switch your x and your y. Y becomes x, a cube root of y minus 3. Notice what's under your square root, your cube root, minus 2. These guys stay together until you get rid of that cube root. Add 2 to both sides. So x plus 2 equals a cube root of y minus 3. So how do you get rid of a cube root? Well, of course, you're going to cube it, just like that. So x plus 2 cubed equals y minus 3. See how I just got rid of that? Okay, you can cube root it. All right. Add 3 to both sides. So x plus 2 cubed plus 3. Now, these two I cannot add. One's inside the parentheses, the other one is not. Equals y, add your negative 1. And at this point, you can change that back to an n, and you can change that back to g of n, but not required. Okay? Not too bad, huh, guys? Okay. Let's go to number 18. All right. Here's your y. X equals negative 1 minus 3 over 2y. Okay? And if you need to draw your line to separate your left from your right, you're fine. Add 1, add 1. So x plus 1 equals negative 3 over 2y. Get rid of the fraction. Opposite of dividing by 2 is multiplying it by 2. So now you have 2x plus 1 equals negative 3y. Okay? Divide each of these by negative 3. I just do the whole thing because it's a lot easier that way. So you have 2x plus 1 divided by negative 3 is equal to y. You see how y is by itself? Add your negative 1, and there's your solution. So notice I'm just doing inverses to simplify. All right. Number 19. Here we go. Okay. Change that to a y. So I'm going to switch my x and my y. X equal 6y plus 4. Draw your line if you need to. Minus 4, minus 4. So x minus 4 equals 6y. Divide each of these by 6 or all at one time. So now you have x minus 4 divided by 6 equals y. Add your negative 1. You are finished. That one was a lot easier, wasn't it? All right, let's go to number 20. Okay, I probably need a little bit more room for 20. There's your y. So x equals negative 2y minus 1 cubed. Notice I switched my x and my y. Before you take a cube root, only these guys is cubed. Do you see that right there? So to do that, you're going to divide by negative 2 first. Now that negative can go with either one. I'm going to put negative x divided by 2 because I like my negatives to be on the top, equals y minus 1 cube. Okay? Opposite of a cube is a cube root. See how that cancel? All right, let's continue on. So a cube root of negative x divided by 2 equals y minus 1. And when it's a negative and it's a cube root, it will not be an I. It is only an I if it's a square root. Okay? Add 1 to both sides. So you have a cube root of negative x divided by 2. Oops, my paper moved. Plus 1, notice it's outside the cube root, equals y. Add your negative 1. Okay? There you go. Alrighty, you got to know your opposites, opporesto. If you have any questions, let me know. Good luck. Have a nice day.